All right, ladies and gentlemen. So today we're going to be talking about box brushes, which is everything over here under geometry. These are your geometry. We call them box brushes. I don't know why. They're just called that. But let's say that we wanted to add something to our scene. So I'm going to go to the internet real quick, and we want to make this office building look a little bit more professional. So I'm just going to Google the picture of like an office. If you want it to be an office, if you want it to be a house, do a house. I don't care. Office exterior. So let's see if there's something we can find that we might want to utilize in our design. One possibility is we could make an entire wall glass. Let's experiment with this a little bit. So let's say that I wanted to make this entirely glass structure. So I'm just going to find in the materials, I'll just change to glass so it's going to be see-through. So there we go. So maybe this little section right here is glass, and I want to be able to build up like a frame for it, like you see in this image right here. So what I could do is I could use a box brush to create an object. Let me scale it down. It's a little hard to scale because you can't see it in real time when you're working with this, but you can also just come in and like scale it with these numbers. So like 0.05, 0.05, 0.05, keep it at perfect hue. So something like that. And then even moving it, it doesn't move in real time. So it's a little harder again to move. So let me turn my snaps off and just set that over here. Okay. So put it where you want it to be, get it the size that you want it to be. And then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to do some extrusions to this. And I want to spin my wheel really, really close to me because I have such a small object I'm working with. And that just, remember that adjusts the speed. When you right click and you spin that wheel on top of your mouse, you want it to be really slow. So I'm going to take this bit right here and I'm going to extrude it out by going into modes. And then I'm going to go into, actually, you know what? I think I know the better way to do this. I'm going to pull this. Yeah, no, I am into that. I'm going to go to modes and I'm going to change it to brush editing. This is called a brush. Remember that. So I'm just going to take this, pull it up here all the way to the top. And I'm going to pull this face, clicking on this face. I'm going to pull it out. Oops, I didn't get the right one apparently. Go. So let's say that we start with like the basic structure like this. And the next thing I'm going to do is grab this top part, pull that up. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is, I could try to like 3D model this and stuff. I'm trying to, again, go with something like this. Probably the best thing to do would be to take another box. So I'll just go back into select mode. I'll take this box and I'm going to duplicate it by holding down Alt. And with this one, let me just expand it a little bit that way. Let's go back into brush editing mode and I'll take this face, push it in. Take this face, if I can select it, probably not. I accidentally made things hard on myself. Let me get back into select mode and push this out of the way a little bit first. And there we go. Okay, let me go back into brush editing. I'll take this, push it in a little bit. Take this top one, push it down a little bit. And this bottom one, if I can select it, I can push that in. Okay. So let's go back to select mode, get this thing back into position. It's close. And then watch what happens when I set the mode on this to subtract instead of add under brush settings. And what it's doing is it is cutting out. Eesh, that moves very quickly. It's going to cut out a section for where that window is. And maybe I want to have a couple of them. So maybe I want to have one here. like that. Let's check the bottom. Let's go down a little bit. And then let me go into my brush editing mode. Take that face, pull it up a little. Take this face, pull it over a little. Once we're about halfway, let's go back to select. Make sure this is all the way back. There it is. And then I'll make a duplicate of it. Stick one here. Give myself that little strip there. And then I'll go into my modes again and just take this face, push it back. So we end up with something like this. Okay. So a couple of those brushes are invisible. These are my cutouts. It's probably a good idea at this point to group those so I know that this is my window. And or window, pane or whatever, window frame pane. So then what I'm going to do is Shift B on this object, and I want to go ahead and just set the material to whatever I want it to. Let's just say, I want something kind of dark, like a painted metal, but I don't know if that's going to be an option. I'll just go with this metal rough. Let's see what that looks like. And you can see it added it to those sections, but in these intersections, it's actually looking at one of the invisible brushes. So I'm just going to do a Shift B there and do the same thing. It was metal rough, I believe. And then the same thing over here. Click on that, Shift B, and then I got my metal rough. Okay. So there we go. We got a nice little design that we created, our own little sculpture. We got our glass pane in it. I may need to just kind of finagle a little bit, move it where it needs to go. That looks about right. Maybe I'll just do that to it. Okay. And then I can see that there's a little section up here that also, I can Shift B on that. I don't know why that, for some reason, that material here didn't get selected. And it's not letting me select that, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. That's fine. Oh, you know why? It's because these guys need to be pushed in as well. Maybe even expand it a little. There we go. Beautiful. That looks pretty cool. Okay, and then we have glass there, which I can't select because, oh yeah, you can. It's the wall itself is a glass material now. A little hard to see the glass, even with reflections. It's not really reflecting, and that's just the nature of glass material. In Unreal, it doesn't exactly do what you want it to. So that's how you can kind of create your own little structures using box brushes. And just one more example, if I pull out go back into select mode, get my box. And if you wanted to make like a wall, remember you go into brush editing, pull this out. And then if you want to do extrusions, it's a little complicated, but you can extrude, and that'll actually pull out another face over here. And then I could extrude this, and I could extrude this, and then finally I could extrude this. So if I wanted to make like, oops, I had to click extrude, it got deselected. So if I wanted to make like a wall, that would be how to do it. And then when I apply my material to it, let's go back into select mode. There's a couple things you might need to do. So if I were to make this, like, I want to make this a brick wall, let's say. Brick, clay, bevel. You might find that in some places it's turned the wrong way. You can just adjust it 90 degrees. There, 90 degrees there. And you might even decide that you want to adjust the scale of it, which is how big these are going to look. So if you wanted them to look like smaller bricks or bigger bricks or whatever, then you could do so just by adjusting these numbers on the UV. So I could say instead of 1 and 1, I could say 0.5 and 0.5, and then apply it, and then watch what happens. It makes the bricks smaller. So if that's something you wanted to do, go for it. If I select all of them with a Shift B, I don't know if it's gonna let me do them all at once, but let's find out. And I'm gonna hit apply, and there it is. All the bricks have been adjusted at the same time, and that's pretty cool looking. It's like a brick wall. All right, I think that's enough to get you guys started, so I'll leave it at that for now, and good luck.